Welcome to another episode of Tech on Ice, where I'm in a cold plunge and talk about tech. This one's cold. It's like right 50. Um, so I might lose my train of thought a few times. So I'm sorry. So I just got back from a conference in Sweden. Uh, Shout out to Schweda, like great conference. They have them in Gothenburg as well as Stockholm. So if you're in the area, please attend because it's a great opportunity for you to learn. I was having a conversation with an attendee about .NET, and what was interesting is he was all on board with how great .NET is now, with the open sourcing of it, .NET Core, now modern .NET, but he's having a really hard time convincing his leadership, specifically his manager, on upgrading like a .NET Framework app to like modern .NET. And I thought I would just take a few minutes to just talk about like why like .NET now or modern .NET is, or how we call it sometimes, is valuable not just for developers but for businesses as well. So I think the number one thing with .NET now is that you can run it anywhere, which means you can run on Linux, you can run on Macs, you can run on Raspberry Pis, you can run on TVs, you can run on watches, all these sort of things. That's really valuable from a cost savings perspective for an enterprise, right? So instead of having to have apps that run only on Windows, you need Windows VMs, Windows Server to host IIS, or Windows machines to host desktop client apps. They can be anything now. So for instance, your server costs could go down substantially depending on what sort of apps your teams build. So that's really important. Secondly, um, the the innovation that's happening in .NET right now is absolutely insane. I've been a .NET developer my entire professional career, so 15 years now, and I remember, .NET, you would build simple desktop apps, simple web apps, like web services, or WCF if you're really fancy. Um, and now we're getting into this world where you can build like apps that look really, really good. Like, I think if anybody's seen an app that was built in the early 2000s in .NET, they all kind of look the same. But now you have access to all this rich like web ecosystem, being able to build interactive experiences with Blazor, and on the client side, being able to build an app that runs on all different platforms from a client perspective, phones, desktops, what have you. With Maui, that's amazing. So just the scale in which you can innovate now in .NET, I think, is substantially better than what it's been in years past. And then third, which I think is the most important, is that you're going to get access to a whole pool of developers that are enjoying what they're doing. I think there's a lot of talk about developer experience and happy developers equals more productive developers. And I joke as somebody who has been in marketing and worked on projects that sole purpose was to kind of get to that point. But it's very true. I think developers that feel fulfilled with the work they do typically do better work. I mean, that's probably not a spicy take for anybody who's a developer. But the sheer, in my opinion, amount of fun things that you can do in .NET now would excite most developers that love building things. So if you're maintaining a .NET Framework app, your job might be fine. You might be making some good money, but I don't think you're as excited as you would be if you're building a modern .NET app, which means that you have access to talent who wants to build fun things, which, from a hiring perspective or a business perspective, you're going to get better developers, in my opinion. Not to say developers that just build .NET apps, .NET Framework apps aren't great. Some of them are amazing, way smarter than me, right? But I think that, especially as we get farther and farther away from like .NET Framework being the status quo, you're going to lose lots of opportunities to bring in candidates because they just don't know how to build like a .NET Web Forms app or a WinForms app written in .NET Framework. So those are three things, and I want to end with the idea that, the fact that .NET is open source now, the fact that the product teams and the engineers are so accessible. Like, you can go on Twitter or any other social media and find them. The support lifecycle is very well defined, LTS versus STS, and just the fact that the community in general is very positive about the future of .NET leads me to believe that you should be thinking about being on the modern versions of .NET. So hopefully, that person that I talked to, maybe I told you to find me on TikTok, so or TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever you want to call it. You find this video and you should just show it to your boss, and your boss is like, "Why are you showing me a video of a guy in a cold plunge?" Hopefully, that is what we get. Anyway, so that's it for me today. I hope you like this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow. Let me know if there's topics you want me to discuss. And yeah, so enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to get out of here. Yeah, this has been Tech on Ice. Why use new .NET? Take care.